To my listeners in the United States and around the world, it's Friday, April 3rd, 2020. This is We Live on a Planet, and I'm your host, Patrick. How you doing? Thank you for joining me. This is episode 376. Probably. I don't know. I say 376, but when I check on Apple, after I am done with an episode and I publish it, I check to Anchor to see if it's been uploaded. Not Anchor, excuse me. Anchor is the provider I use. I check Apple, and I think it says I only have like 315 episodes or something. So I don't know. My math could be off. I've never been good at math, so it's okay. It's all good. Have I told you the temperature yet? No? What's that? No. Okay. My producer's like, no, I'm not paying attention. I feel like I was never diagnosed with ADHD, adult. What is it? Attention deficit disorder, but I feel like maybe I have the adult version besides other things. My mind is all over this place. It's 41 degrees currently in Oswego. That's not too bad right now for what time it is. It's early in the morning. Feels like 34. Highs are going to be about 42 degrees though. Winds are out of the northwest at 14 miles per hour. Why do I share that? Why do I say that stuff? To archive it. As a guy I used to work with years ago would call it archives. To archives it. And he would say that not to try to be funny. He just would say that because he did. He didn't do it on purpose. That's what he called it. Oh, man. So yeah, hopefully this episode doesn't turn pear-shaped and I'm all over the place today. But I share that stuff because I'm trying to just leave a little history. Leave something for somebody to stumble across, maybe grandchildren that might have, or great-grandchildren maybe someday. Or in 150 years from now, somebody stumbles across this. And it's interesting to them because the technology is going to be different in 100 years. Technology is going to be different in 10 years, 5 years. This stuff that we're talking about, we'll be talking all kinds of stuff and things today. I think somebody might find that interesting or unique. It's uncertain times right now, too. We're in a world right now where it's affecting the world, the coronavirus. And the new norms don't feel so normal. We're a social creature as an animal, a human, and you can't be very social right now, and it doesn't feel fun. It doesn't feel natural. I know it doesn't for me. The city I live in feels very ghost towny. When you do have to go out and get your essentials, the streets are pretty quiet. The streets are pretty quiet in the city, the sleepy little city of Oswego anyways. It's only about 18,000. But yeah, it just feels weird. We're going to try to cheer you up a little bit today. Do our best to do that, I guess. Try. All right, my friends. Oh, you want to start with the quote first before we take a break? You do? Okay, let's start with a quote first. My producers tell me we'll do it then. We are perfectly imperfect here at We Live on a Planet. We do things our own way. That's the greatest thing about having your own podcast and being your own boss. Do it how you want. Always believe that something wonderful is about to happen. Gotta live like that, right? You always gotta believe this. I'm believing right now that something wonderful is gonna happen with Carpe. If you follow the show, you heard about my adventure with them. But I'm also very optimistic of just the way my life has been lately. I'm trying to live more in harmony with my disorder of mental health, of bipolar, of acceptance. I'm definitely in harmony with my sobriety. That feels amazing. I am smoke-free, too. One reggae horn. One? Is that what we get? 2 reggae air horns. What are we doing? Remember the count? Yeah. Whoa, it's a party now. 3 reggae, 4, 5. Yeah, a little all over the place. That's okay. We're going to have fun. We're going to laugh. I like to laugh. I like to laugh at myself. I'm 50. I can do what I want. Once you get 50, you can do that, I think. Once you get 50, you can just kind of say things like that. I got my AARP cards in the mail the other night telling me And I'm old enough for that. All right. Okay. I'm strong enough to start over again. And I'm going to try. That's so random, but just starting to think about you have to start over sometimes in your life. Hit that restart button. I think we all need to purge sometimes, let things go. We hold on to things so much. I know I do. The mistakes I've made in my life, my past mistakes. There's no reason to, because I can't change it. There's nothing I can do. I don't know what 10 minutes is going to bring for me. I know in 10 minutes I'll still be doing the show, and hopefully it doesn't turn pear-shaped. But all right, I'm going to take a break because I'm rambling, and I want to get my thoughts together. And stick around. I appreciate you coming over. Hopefully, if it's your first time, sit back and relax. If you're a fan, or not a fan, I don't like to say that. If you're a family member, because you're family to me, is how I feel. You know what to do. Get yourself a beverage, sit back. We're going to come right back, and we're going to dive into all kinds of stuff and things. I'll be right back. All right, to get yourself something to drink, hopefully. Groovy. All right, I have an app that if you follow the show, you know that I am part of this group, an app that I joined called Sober Grid. It's a good app if you're struggling with addiction. You put in your sobriety date, the amount of money you spent, and it calculates how much money you've saved and how long you've been sober. I've saved over $50,000. $50,000 from not drinking. It's amazing to me. But one of the reasons I'm talking about Sober Grid is you don't have to be sober to gain some value out of some of the things they share over there. And one of the things they share is a daily reading. It's like a positive, inspirational reading. And I want to share their reading that I read today. And I want to share it with you. And hopefully I can do okay and read it okay. Because sometimes when I get ready to read, I end up anticipating and reading too quickly. And as I did say, I feel like I'm trying to slow down because I'm all over the place today, and I have been not sleeping very well, even though I have talked to my doctor about it. I feel okay. I'm doing a billion things all at once, and I'm afraid because what happens usually is this happens and then the crash comes, and I don't want to crash because I feel great when I'm like this, and feel like I can accomplish a lot of things, and then all of a sudden something happens to where I become crippled and I can't even get dressed. But the daily reading that I want to read to you is just for that thing that I was just going to say is I have to accept myself. And that's how it starts off. Accept yourself. Love yourself just as you are. Your finest work, your best moments, your joy, peace, and healing come when you love yourself. You give a great gift to the world when you do that. You give others permissions to do the same, to love themselves. Revel in self-love. Roll in it, bask in it, as you would the sunshine. Yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. You know, everybody's gone through something that has changed them in a way that they could never go back to the person they once were. And I never want to go back to the person I once was. I can look back at that person, though, and learn and remember. I don't have to fill that role as the family drunk. It's not my job. Somebody else can fill that role. I filled it long enough. I don't have to fill that role as the broken person with just mental health problems. I can pick myself up and use this mental health problem to help and reach others out there, knowing that they're struggling, that they're not alone. And that's what I'm trying to do with this podcast. I'm trying to use this podcast for so many things. If you follow the show, you know that it's not just out here talking. It's a therapeutic thing for me too. So there's times I forget that I'm talking to anybody because I'm just the reason why I read that to you is because I'm telling myself that. And I read it to myself this morning, but I read it again just to you because reading and saying it again more times, and then I wrote it down, it affirms it. And studies show that when you're writing things down, it helps. And I love writing with my new pens, my new fountain pens. That's my new obsession. I just got a fountain pen converter the other day for one of my fountain pens, and a converter is a thing that just holds the ink. You use it now. Back in the day, they were like rubber bladders, little squeezy bladders, but now they're like a little twist up thing, and you just twist up the ink into it. It's pretty groovy. I like it. Stick around. When we come back, we'll dive into, we're going to head on over to the History Channel's website. I got a little bit of, there's some new analytics that just came out from Anchor that tells you about, I always knew where my audience was listening from, what region of the world, but now there's some more in-depth analytics that I think was kind of interesting, and I wanted to share with you too, because you are a listener. I'm like, hey, there's some new stuff for the podcast that you enjoy, and I want to share it with you. So stick around. We'll be right back. So I thought it was pretty interesting, the analytics that they're offering now over at Anchor. 78% of you are listening right here in the United States. 2% are in France. Hopefully these numbers don't bore you. I think it's kind of interesting. I just wanted to give you an idea of where people are listening. Over 100 and last I counted was 125 or 126 countries listen to We Live on a Planet. 2% are in France, 2% are in the UK, 2% in Australia, 2% in Australia or Canada. I just wanted to give you the top 5. I'm not going to give you all of them, obviously. Then the other 1%, and then less than are the other ones that are rounding up the top 5. Right after that are Sweden and Russia are listening to We Live on a Planet. Where are they listening? How are they listening through what platform? 54% are other. I have no idea. So that's like other podcast providers, because 35% of you are listening right through Apple Podcasts. Then 3% through Spotify. I got to get my Spotify listeners up. 3% through Breaker, which is an app that is a podcast provider, and 3% through Anchor. Anchor's my home. That's who is a provider. That's what started me with podcasting. And then the ages. I was pretty surprised by the age, and then once I started thinking about it, the people who listen to podcasts are this age group. 24% of you are the ages of 28 to 34 years old. Then 22% of you are 18 to 22 years old. 18% of you are 23 to 27 years old. 13% are 35 to 44 years old, and then rounding up at 12% are 45 through 59-year-olds. I'm fede. So yeah, I'm surprised. 24% of you are 28 to 34-year-olds. I could be your dad. Thank you for hanging out with a groovy old dude. I appreciate that. And then I found out 55% of you are male, 43% are female. So it's almost, I'm like, to both crowds, and I appreciate that. And then I learned something. I love learning something new, because the other two, you're like, well, where's that other 2%? I'm doing the math, Patrick. Where's that? Less than 1% is non-binary, and less than 1% is not specified. I learned what non-binary was. I had no idea what that was. I didn't know what that word was. I guess, okay, boomer. Non-binary is like gender neutral. So yeah, I learned something new. So I got to Zoom with my classmates the other night. That was fun. Everybody's been cooped up. This world is uncertain times, and here it is. I'm 30 years out of school. 1989, I graduated high school. And my classmates, there was only 33 or 32 of us that graduated. It was a small class. I think only 36 in our whole graduating, or the class, 30, 33 of us graduated, something like that. The whole class was 7th through 12th grade, my school was. And there was 176 kids. But we got to Zoom the other night, and it brought back a memory of when I first started school there. I started in 8th grade. And that year, my basketball team, that the school I went to, was really good. And they went to the state championship. And I don't know if it's like I'm saying maybe ADHD, just my personality, always looking for attention, always the class clown. I almost dropped out of school. That's the whole reason why I got sent to this school in the first place. I was getting in a lot of trouble, and so my mom sent me here. So here I'm at this school, and I ended up falling in love with it. And it's towards the end of the school year, basketball season, and it's towards the end, and we go to the state championships, and it's quite a few towns over, so it's a long bus drive. And I took the bus. They provided buses for all of us students and parents to go and watch the game. And remember, I went to a Catholic, maybe you don't know, I'm going to tell you right now, I graduated from a tiny little Catholic school. So it was a tiny little private Catholic school. So there's priests and nuns and stuff like that. And we get to the basketball game, and our game is about to start, and right behind us, I'm way in these bleachers, way up high, way up in these bleachers, and I'm sitting with my classmates, and I'm looking for attention. I'm trying to be the class clown even then. And behind me, I see this poster board, that thick type poster board material of another team that just played, and they're leaving, so their team is leaving. So I'm like, let's tear this down, and decide to crumple it up the best I can, because it's part of or poster board, so you're not doing too much crumpling with it. What do I decide to do? Instead of just setting it down, no, I decided to take a jump shot at the top of these bleachers and whip this thing down to the crowd below. Who does it hit? There's a group of nuns sitting right there. It hits one of the nuns right in the head and knocks her habit off. Oh my God. So that happens, and the whole crowd at this basketball game basically turns around because it knocks her habit and her glasses off and everything, because it hits her so violently, because it's from real far and it's a poster board. I forgot about that, except for when I was talking to my classmates. It sparked that memory. And I'm bringing it up because here I get sent to this school because I'm almost getting kicked out of school, or I'm almost going to drop out, and here I almost get kicked out of this school because I do something so stupid. Now, mind you, I was 15. I should still know better. At 15 years old, I should have known better. But I remember I had to write a note. I got in a lot of trouble. I had to write a note to this nun, and it was from a different school. It wasn't even our school, this set of nuns. They were visiting to see this, and I had to write a note and apologize. I remember all that. So, wow. Isn't it weird how talking with old mates and stuff like that can spark memories? Because that sparked a memory with me. Alrighty, stick around. When we come back, we'll head on over to the History Channel's website and see what happened on this day of history. I'll be right back. I hope you come back too. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. Yeah, free. There's also creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will even distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. Listen to this, too. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Check out Anchor.fm today. You can find me at Anchor.fm/WLOAP. Hope to hear from you. Did you just say lick a horse and it tastes like raisins? Okay, why are we hearing about horses? Oh, on this day, April 3rd, 1860, the first Pony Express mail traveled by horse and rider relay team simultaneously leave St. Joseph, Missouri, and Sacramento, California. 10 days later, on April 13th, the westbound rider and mail packet completed the approximately 1,800-mile journey and arrived in Sacramento, beating the eastbound packet's arrival in St. Joseph by 2 days and setting a new standard for speedy mail delivery. Yeah, it only lasted 19 months, though, the Pony Express, but boy, it's famous in history, isn't it? You would think it's been around, it was longer than for that. And we order now from Amazon. And depending on where you live, if you live in the close enough region, you can order something and it's to you the very next day. Isn't that amazing? Here we go. U.S. Presidents, 1940. President Harry Truman signs Marshall Plan. On this day in 1948, President Harry S. Truman signs the Economic Assistance Act, which authorized the creation of a program that would help the nations of Europe recover and rebuild after the devastating wrought by World War II, commonly known as the Marshall Plan. 1996. Wow, was it that? 1996? That's how long ago it was? The Unabomber, also known as Theodore John Kaczynski, is arrested by FBI agents. He's 16 mail bombs that killed at least 3 people and injuring 23 over an 18-year period. He was in some little shack. I remember that, 1996. Here's one in natural disasters. 1996, U.S. Secretary of Commerce Roy Brown was tragically killed in a plane crash, along with 32 other Americans, when the U.S. Air Force plane crashed into a mountain near Dubrovnik, Croatia. I don't think I remember that. 1936, Bruno Hauptmann, convicted of kidnapping Lindenberg's son, he's executed. The Lindenberg baby. 1996, Nixon administration vows to Vietnamese the war. I don't know what that means, and it's not interesting me enough to open it up. Sorry. If that is interesting you, please go to the historychannel.com, their website. You can find all of this stuff on this day of history and much more information if you're interested. Western expansion, 1817, Texas Ranger Bigfoot Wallace is born. Imagine having that name. Must have some big feet, must be. 1948, the Louisiana Hayride radio program premieres on KWKH AM Shreveport. A real big radio program at the Grand Ole Opry. 1978, this is Annie Hall beats out Star Wars for Best Picture. Wow. Here's one in crime. 1882, Jesse James is murdered, shot by a fellow gang member, Bob Ford, who betrayed James for the reward money. Some friend he was, huh? That's no mate to have. All right, so we learned a little bit about history. That was okay. And then I'm wondering about, you know what I had to do? Smoke weed every day. Yeah, that's what I did during the break. Maybe it helps my brain, slows me down a little bit. Maybe I can concentrate a little bit more. I'm one of those guys that when I do, I end up can do more. Instead of sitting there doing nothing, I end up doing more because it helps slow me down to where I can concentrate on one thing at one time. Isn't that weird? I'm opposite. Instead of smoking and just being on the couch, then I can do other things instead of doing a bunch of things all at once. All right, stick around when we come back, we'll head on over to the facts site and see if we can find some interesting facts to root around to get some wrinkles on our brain. It's always good to learn, get some convolutions and extrapolations. We'll be right back. Goat, how you doing? How you been? Where you been? Hey, I haven't seen you in a little while with your little cloven hoofs. Oh, you over here because Horse was here? What's that new little clover noof you got for me? Oh, Goat Goat's left me something to remind you that my giveaway is still running over at WLOAP.com. That's my website powered by Universe. And I'm having a giveaway. I only need 9 more subscribers. And then I'm going to give it that over $50 worth of value swag box, mystery box, all kinds of little potpourri of prizes. So if you have not subscribed to my website, why not? I know. I don't want to subscribe. You're going to sell my email. No, I'm not. I'm going to get emails all the time. No, you're not. You'll get an email Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And it will be just a quick little email to remind you that there's a new episode out at We Live on a Planet. That's it, because now we are powered up on Wednesdays for interviews/conversation shows. And yeah, I think that will be neat. And also, don't forget, if you're using the Anchor app, you can leave me a phone call. I would love to hear from you. That would be great. If you're using another podcast provider, then you can head on over to my website. While you're there, subscribe. But leave me a little voicemail that can be part of the show. Yeah. All right, scram. Scram, you little rascal. All right, where are we? We are on the facts site. April is known for beautiful spring weather, the start of warmer weather, and right about the time when the Easter Bunny will make an appearance. Let's learn a little bit about April. We know it's the 4th month of the year, but that's only by the Gregorian calendar that we adhere to now. It was previously the 5th month in the early Julian calendar. Did you know there was 2 differences? There was a Gregorian and Julian calendar. Yeah, there was. April also used to only have 29 days, but a 30th day was added when Julius Caesar established the Julian calendar. So he had to name it after himself, huh? In the southern hemisphere, April is the seasonal equivalent to October. No one is sure how the month ended up with its name, but we do know the Romans named it Aprilis, Aprillis, Aprilis. The epidemiology behind the word April comes from the verb aperi, which means to open. It's commonly believed that the word refers to the season of trees and flowers beginning to open or bloom. That makes sense. I can feel it right now. My allergies I got like a little deep wheeze, a little bit of post-nasally kind of, it's not the coronavirus, thank goodness. And my wife and I got out of the house the other day and we're practicing social distancing. But we needed to get out of the house, and we walked up. Right down the street from us is a historic park. And I looked up at one of the trees, and I could see little buds starting to come out. So yeah, it is allergy season right now. Those who were born in April have diamonds as their birthstones, which represents innocence. Their birth flower is either a daisy or a sweet pea. Diamonds. I saw something on the Cosmos the other day, that show with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I can't remember what planet he said. They're figuring some scientists believe that it might have liquid diamonds in their sea, or quote unquote water, or their sea is liquid diamonds. And I can't remember. If you know what planet that is, please contact the show and let me know. There are 2 zodiac signs in April: Aries, which is until April 19th, and Taurus, which is April 20th and onwards. April is a great month for meteor showers, one of which is the Lyridus meteor shower, which appears from April 16th to April 26th each year. There's another called the Eta Aquarius meteor shower that can be seen onwards from April 21st. I'm probably butchering the way to say those things, but I have a hard time pronunciating things sometimes. There are quite a few notable historian people who were born in April, such as Leonardo da Vinci, Shakespeare, and Queen Elizabeth II. Ooh, here's one. April 15th, in 1912, the famous Titanic ship hits an iceberg and sunk on her very first voyage. Can you believe that? That very first time this thing goes out and sinks. George Washington was inaugurated as the first president of the United States on April 30th, 1789. There's a famous thing in April. That's almost like a this day in history. Back in the time of the ancient Romans, April was sacred to the goddess Venus. Of course, one of the most well-known dates of April is April Fool's Day, on April 1st of the month. No one is sure where this originated from, but some believe it is inspired by Geoffrey Chaucer's story in Canterbury Tales called Nun's Priest Tale. How weird. We were just talking about nuns and priests earlier. It's weird how the universe does that, because I had no idea what we were going to learn about on the fact site. On April 11th, 1970, Apollo 13 was launched and ran into difficulties about 2 days later. It was then that famous line, what is it? Is it Houston, we have a problem, right? That's what you think it is. But it's Houston, we've had a problem here, he said, and is today usually misquoted. Because usually we think of Tom Hanks in that movie, Apollo 13, and they say, Houston, we have a problem. But it's Houston, we've had a problem here. After 1,500-year break, the first Olympics of the modern era took place on April 6, 1896 in Athens. Oh, this almost feels like a this day of history again. The explosion of the Chernobyl plant in the Ukraine occurred on April 26, 1986, which forced everyone within 300-mile radius to be evacuated. My wife's grandmother was born in Chernobyl, I think, right there. She was born there. The smaller animals that hibernate for the winter in the northern hemisphere usually start coming out of the burrows in April. So you start seeing them, they start coming up. April is also the month that birds migrate north and settle down for the summer to mate. So you're starting to hear the birds chirping, and that puts you in a good mood. It does for me. For all you car enthusiasts out there, the Ford unveiled their first Mustang on April 17th, 1964, costing a whopping $2,368. And if you're like, that doesn't seem like much, well, in 1964, that was like 20,000 some odd dollars once you figure in inflation and everything. And then the last one, the first battle of the Revolutionary War, Lexington and Concord, broke out on April 19th, 1775. As you can see, there's more than just April Fool's Day that we know for April. And also, April showers bring May flowers. So yeah. So if the rain of April ever gets you down, never forget those silver linings. Yeah. All right, my friends. I appreciate it. Oh, what's that? Don't forget to give me a buzz. WLOAP.com. Be a part of the show. I would love to hear from you. I appreciate you stopping over, giving me your time. If you like the show and you're liking what you hear, when you head on over to WLOAP.com, there's a spot there for listener support for as little as 99 cents a month. $12 a year. You can support We Live on a Planet. You can cancel at any time. If you say, I don't want to subscribe to something every month, and even if it's only 99 cents, I don't want to do that. There's a one-time pay option where you can do PayPal, or you can also do Apple Pay. If you want to give a one-time donation to the show, you're more than welcome to do that too, and it would be greatly appreciated. I use that kind of stuff to get stickers. I got to my bag initiative, some business cards. So it all goes back into helping the show. I appreciate it. Maybe buy me a cup of coffee too. Who knows? All right. Yeah, do your best to stay curious today and not judgmental the best you can. And always believe that something wonderful is about to happen. All right, my friends, thank you. Tell a friend about We Live on Planet. I appreciate it. Don't forget, Monday we'll have a show. And then Wednesday, my episode with Radio Myler will be coming out. And then I have an episode with Reish from Medicine Remix coming up. I keep turning my head to look at my calendar, so I apologize. Eddie Green from Eddie Green's 101. It's coming out the 22nd. And then director Andy Palmer, the 29th. Then we have Kat O'Keefe. Kat O'Keefe is a award-winning author. She'll be on the show as well. I'm going to have Pedro Pena from My Stuttering Life, and then Hugo Torres. I got all kinds of stuff in the oven, so yeah, stick around. I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you real soon. Take care, my friends. Enjoy your weekend. Remember to practice social distancing so we can all get back to some kind of normalcy. All right, stay healthy. Peace.